everyone, it's me, Krista. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. If not, welcome for the very first time to my little art corner here on YouTube. Today we're going to be playing around with the items that came in the February 2021 Premium Sketchbox. I decided that with these items I wanted to draw a hazel eye. I started out with a sketch and I did that using an ebony pencil. I'm using some watercolor paper that came in a previous Sketchbox. It is the Magnon 1404 Italia paper and it is 4 inches by 6 inches. After I got my sketch in, I start going in with the Derwent Graphite from the pan in Juniper. And I'm making sure for these first layers that I'm using a lot of water so that I can get some really light layers and I can also get some wonderful dripping effects on the paper. I also start pulling in the graphite pan in the indigo color to add to what we already have laid down. Next I start filling in the iris. I am originally just using the Derwent Graphite pencil in ivy and chestnut, and then I start pulling in the other pencils to add in some more colors. Once again, at first I'm using a bunch of water, and as it goes on I will be using less and less. I also start pulling in the chestnut Derwent Graphite pencil into the surrounding colors of the eye in the area where the skin would normally be. Once again, using bunches of water and making sure we get some drippy effects going on. I also do some splatter effects, and in order to do this, I make sure my brush is very, very wet, that I have enough pigment on it, and I pull the bristles of the brush towards me and let them go and fly. I want to make sure that we have some messiness going on, for sure. At this point, I start pulling in the different color watercolor graphite pencils. I'm making sure that I'm doing a lot of layers on this piece, starting with a bunch of water and progressively using less as we go. I want to make sure that the eye itself and the folds around it are very defined, that it disperses into the splatters that we already have going on. In order to get more definition, I am making sure that I'm using the pencils dry, and if I want to blend it in, I'm pulling in a bit of water on the brush. I wanted to make sure for this project, since we are playing around with the items that came in this month's box, that I use every single item at least once in this little drawing. I think I mentioned this in the other video when we did the swatches of the K.LoganArt watercolor graphite. The white itself is not very opaque. It is okay for lightening up what you have laid down very subtly, but it is not going to brighten up back to the paper white. Using the pencils in this box reminded me a lot of using watercolor colored pencils. The only difference is that there is a graphite base to a couple of them, obviously. Plus that really sweet graphite we got that's like putty. I really like that. I didn't use it much in this project. I only used it for the darkest points for shadows, but I do want to play around with just that in something in the future. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I have so many things I want to do and so many projects that I want to make and so many ideas for once, which is nice. I was going through a little bit of an art block, so it's nice to have different ideas. I just have to find the time to do them. Correction, I have to make the time to do them. I do end up going a little ham with the eyelashes. At first I'm using the Cafe Au Lait pencil, I believe. It's either that or the chestnut. I'm not sure. And then I start going over it with a darker pencil. I do really like the colors that were included in this month's box, and I like how easy it was to create a skin tone by mixing them together. I do end up messing up with the bottom lashes here for sure, and I started realizing that certain areas of my project were getting really dark, a lot darker than I think I wanted them to be. To fix this problem, since I can't really pull it back up to the white of the paper, and I can't use that white pencil to lighten it up very well, I end up pulling in something that I got in a previous Sketchbox. It is some M. Graham & Co. Artist Watercolor in Titanium White Opaque. I decided to use this because it is a watercolor and it ended up working pretty well. I was able to get some nice opaque white in and it played around with the pencils really nicely. If I wanted to, I could definitely shave off some of the pigment of the pencils onto a palette and mix it in with this white to create some very light shades that are still opaque. I also pull some of the white watercolor into the background. When I do that, it does move around a little bit more than I wanted it to. In order to fix this, I just pull in a dry paper towel while it's still very wet and pat it, pulls it right up. As with a lot of projects, I jump back and forth between lightening and darkening it up. I like moving my stuff around as I go. It's just how I work. It's always been how I work. I think for myself, it's less stressful to go with the flow as I'm creating versus having something very specific in mind and every line and every little bit of paint having to be exactly right. If I work that way, where I become very focused in, I tend to stress myself out really badly and end up hating what I'm doing. So it's easier for me to just try to chill, enjoy the process, and enjoy the mistakes. I do make sure I add a little bit more shading into the white area of the eye, just using one of the pencils. I'm pretty sure it's the red graphite one. At this point, I'm going to be pulling in a lot more white. I decided to do the little area in the eye to help make it look wetter. And also, I start pulling it in between the eyelashes on the top and the bottom. On the top, it's just to help bring out some highlights, but on the bottom, I'm doing it very specifically to help define the shape of the lashes themselves. Overall, I did really enjoy this project. I love painting and drawing eyes, so that's no real surprise for me. But I also really liked playing around with the items that came in this month's box. I think there's stuff that I can use in other projects later for sure, especially other watercolor and or ink drawings or paintings. But with that, this project, and therefore this video, is almost done. If you liked it, please hit that like button. If you have any comments, questions, feelings, concerns, or you've used any of the items that came in this month's box, let me know all about that in the comment section down below. If you want to see more videos like this, please feel free to subscribe. I do SketchBox unboxings and projects once a month. As always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day or night to watch this video and listen to me ramble. I greatly appreciate it. I look forward to hearing from you guys soon, and you will most definitely be hearing from me soon. Bye, everybody!